Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Juan's World. And surprise, surprise, I'm cooking again. I had said on Friday that because I'd cooked on Friday that I'd maybe switch things around a little. But over the weekend I made an Irish stew. Now it's called Irish stew in England, but it's made all over the United Kingdom. It's a lamb stew with various vegetables and mostly carrots, potatoes, and onions and leeks. But we call it Irish stew. It's made with lamb. That's one of the key notions. And it has suet dumplings in it. And I really like suet dumplings. And that's really the core here. So let's get started. Now, first things first, as always, we need to add a little oil to our pan and to put in some sliced onions and just sweat them down. Don't necessarily need to brown them totally, but if they get a little bit of color, that's fine. And then I'm going to add my lamb. Now, the lamb that I got was from the Australian supermarket that I go to every couple of weeks. It's a place where I can reliably get lamb. It's frozen, but it's fine. And I usually get either shoulder chops or some kind of stewing lamb. And so here you can see it's bone-in shoulder chops. I'm going to brown them on both sides with the onions and then add some liquid. In this case, I actually just added water and then added a little bit of powdered bouillon because I didn't have the time to make a full stock. And then simmer and simmer and simmer. I simmered these for maybe 2 hours, I don't know. That is, put them in my big stock pot and I had to keep topping up with water, I have to admit, because the process went on for a long time. Then added some of my aromatics. The main ones for lamb, especially for stew, are garlic and rosemary, very traditional in England. When you just like fry lamb chops, you frequently will add some chopped up garlic and some rosemary leaves to the pan when you're cooking them, or if you're roasting, then you insert some garlic under the skin of the roast and then put some rosemary on top. Then into the refrigerator overnight. That's also the policy that I follow all the time with soups and stews. Always refrigerate overnight. Next day I come back and add more liquid and add my vegetables. And in this case I had some carrots, some potatoes, and some mushrooms. Mushrooms are not all that common, and these of course are Asian mushrooms, but if you have some just button mushrooms or field mushrooms or whatever, that's fine. And they don't really need to cook terribly long, maybe 20-25 minutes. Well, then I refrigerated again, another overnight, just so that all of the flavors can blend. And then third day, I got the stew back out of the refrigerator, made sure the liquid level was topped up, and I made my dumplings. Now, it's impossible to get suet in Cambodia, so I thought, but the first time I went to the Australian supermarket, there it was. And so I bought a pack. This was vegetarian suet, so I don't know what's in it exactly, but I did also eventually go to a different branch of the same supermarket, and they had beef suet mixed with flour, sort of all ready to make the dumplings, or suet pastry, or Christmas pudding, or whatever. So I didn't want to try that just yet. So I made the suet dumplings. The suet dumplings are made with a 2-to-1 mix of all-purpose flour and suet, and then about a teaspoon, maybe 2, of baking soda. The recipes normally recommend that you use self-raising flour. I can't get that. But it doesn't really matter, because self-raising flour is just flour with baking powder added. Not baking soda, baking powder. That is, it's a mix of bicarbonate of soda and some acid of some sort, cream of tartar normally. All right, so I put them into my food processor, started pulsing and adding cold water until I had got a dough, as you can see here, and then just chunk the dough up into balls and into boiling stew. The liquid has to be boiling, and you pop the dumplings in and let them cook. I'd say maybe about 20 minutes, something like that. They have to just cook through, but don't overcook them, because then they fall apart. And then serve. And this is one of my favorite dishes. Here it is. You can see it's a relatively poor person's dish, I guess, in the countries where it originated. That is, there's not a whole lot of meat into it, but the whole thing is very rich in meat flavor, so that when you eat the dumplings or the potatoes or whatever, they've got that lamb taste to them. But here I've got 1 shoulder lamb chop, and I'll make 4 meals out of 1 chop, right? Because there's a lot of vegetables, and the dumplings are filling as well. And so I made that. Let's see, Sunday. I've had it Sunday, Monday, and today is Tuesday. I'll have it today, and I'll also have some left over for Wednesday, or maybe switch something around and have it on Thursday instead. But there's my Irish stew, or you can just call it lamb stew if you like. I hope you enjoyed it, even if you don't make it, and please tell your friends about my videos. Please like, please subscribe, and I will see you again on Friday, and I will do something more in the way of musing than I did today, but I have no idea what my topic will be. So have a good week.